today's gonna be a special video. This is a video I've wanted to make for a long time because I've always wanted to change the color of my car. I've done this once before, but I used a Plasti Dip. Today, we're gonna start and try to use VViViD Vinyls. Now, this video is only possible because the guys at VViViD Vinyls reached out and said, hey, we'd like to see what you think of our product and if you can actually do this. I jumped right on it. So today, that's what we're gonna do. It's probably gonna take me a while, multiple days I imagine, but we're gonna get started and I'm gonna start tearing down the door and try and vinyl wrap this car. So VViViD did send me 65 feet of this Psycho Purple metallic color, which is beautiful. You'll see it here soon. On top of that, they gave me everything I need. They gave me this wrap cut, they gave me razor blades, a heat gun, squeegees, everything. So this isn't gonna be a how-to video. It's just gonna kind of show you how I get through this, where I struggle, what happens, and maybe this will help you determine if you can do this at your home. I'm gonna do this with as limited tools as possible, even though I do have to disassemble quite a bit of the car, but I'm gonna try and make it as simple as possible. And I'm not gonna try and cut any corners, but we'll see what happens. So I'm excited to see how this comes out, and if you guys wanna see the end result, I might put an annotation up here somewhere, or you can just watch straight through the video. But let's make this car purple.
I've been walking through the rain, don't know where I'm going. My head's leading me astray.
So I finally got the door broken down. As you can see, all the trim, everything is off the door. I cleaned a little bit into the fender. I cleaned the side skirt down below. So you can see there's all the pieces that I had to remove, the trim, the whole door panel. But now we'll go ahead and time lapse. I'm gonna try and wrap just this door panel and see how it goes.
Yeah, you follow nowhere, getting deeper in the frame. I see your face, I feel the pain, but you chose the path I follow. I'm in love with the way that you hold me when I fall back down, and I'm in love with the words from your voice that put me off the ground now. This love's been a long time coming. My breath slows but my heart keeps running. I'm so fed up of the lies that my heart believed in, but staring deep into your eyes makes it all forgiven. I feel my cover will be blown, my fears will grow out of control. Yeah, you still walk the path I follow anyways.
All right, so here's an update. I've got both doors on the passenger side done. Now, wrapping has been a lot easier than I thought. Yes, it does take a little bit of kind of dealing with the material and figuring out how it will conform. But honestly, the hardest part of this whole process so far has actually been reinstalling this door handle, because the way that the mechanism inside actually works. Actually, vinyl wrapping each door, this first one took me probably about an hour. This back one, maybe 45 minutes or so. You should have seen the time lapse of that so far. But I am very happy with how it's coming out. And I have to say, I think it's coming out very well. I do have a couple spots right here, maybe. There's like a bubble. But a lot of these little bubbles, you just press on it and it'll go away. They also sent me a little tool VViViD sent me this tool that you kind of pop that bubble, but it could also be some contamination. So either way, I mean, I'm not super worried about it. This side of the car had a lot of chips and things in the paint, so it's kind of expected that it's not gonna be 100% perfect, but I got my corners pretty nice. Everything is going very well. It's a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. So one place I did kind of, well, you don't even really see it on here. You can see here maybe, I got a crease in it just because I couldn't figure out which way to pull the material. So I'll try and show that a little bit. Again, it's not even that bad. It's just and it's mostly hidden. So inside the frame is where it gets a little bit messy, just because trying to roll this material over, there's a lot of extra, but I can always go back in here and trim that if I want to. But so far, it's coming out great. So again, down here, I have a couple spots where there's some contamination underneath the vinyl, but again, I can't tell if it was actually dirt or if it was a chip, so I'm not super worried about it. This vinyl is covering so well, and it just looks so great. I absolutely love all the metallic in it, and you can kind of see that better right now with this light. Alright, so I'm almost done with the Fender here, but I wanted to take a moment and show you guys how well this wrap kind of blends into itself. And you may wonder why that matters. Well, I'll show you here in just a second, but take a look at how well this blends together. I have not trimmed this back edge yet between the piece I used for this Fender and the door here. And the edge is right here at my fingertip. It is almost invisible, like you can barely see it. Now, the reason you may need to know that is for your inlays and everything, which means that it's gonna blend very well. The reason it just came in handy for me was I accidentally trimmed too much here on this edge, and I had a little bit of black showing. So all I did was I took a little piece and I laid it over the edge of it. I don't even think you can see very faintly the line right there. It almost looks like a very, very light scratch or something, but this stuff is just amazing. So I'm finishing up this Fender, and if I can get this to focus, I'm gonna move on to probably the hood after this. Alright, I got the hood now halfway done. I used that knifeless tape, or as VViViD calls it, wrap cut, which is what they sent me. Worked really well actually, so I got a very straight line and it follows the body line, so it's not as noticeable to see that edge. And I'll go ahead and show you. Now, one thing I do want to say is that this little piece has actually been probably the most difficult, and I do have several mistakes in it. So I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. So I don't know if it's going to show up on camera or not, but I used the wrap cut to get this line here. And if you look real close, try and get this to focus. Like right here, I've got a couple little spots in the wrap. You can kind of see them in the reflection there. Up here, this is probably the worst one. It looks like a little wrinkle, but since it's already heated and it's stuck down, I can't do anything about it. So since this is kind of a small piece, I may end up redoing this if I have enough vinyl, but it is looking so, so good. I am so happy. So, gotta figure out what piece I wanna do next, but we'll jump right into a time lapse when I do. So I got this half of the bumper done. It is not perfect by any means. You can definitely see some of the rock chips and everything through the vinyl. I didn't actually do an inlay like I thought I was gonna have to, but I sacrificed a little bit there because it was a lot harder, I think, to stretch the vinyl where I needed it to go. So what I did was I put it all on here, and I started by cutting this opening, and then I ended up having to have a seam right here, which you can kind of see. It's not noticeable unless you know that it's there, but that's just something that has to happen. If I had an inlay, I would have had 2 of these, but because I just did I cut this out and then I stretched all the vinyl here, I was able to just have this one seam. The other thing I did was I got it all tucked in up here. Again, I have a little bit of extra material in there that I might try and trim out still, but it's wrapped around all the edges. Another mistake that I made was right here. I cut a little relief cut and I cut it too far out. So the vinyl was spanning this gap, and I tried to cut to relieve that stress so I could stretch it down into here. And when I did that, I just cut a little bit too far out. But everything else, I was quite surprised I was able to get all of this into one piece. Now, if I was trying to do the entire bumper, I don't think I would have been able to do it, but I think that it came out pretty nice. And I used that knifeless tape right here to match my line, which it's a little bit off, but it's pretty close. And then following that line down, you get here, and then this one, I tried to make this one match with the curve here. So I may add a piece, I don't know, we'll see. But this section here probably took me an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to get this done. And I'm not looking forward to doing the other side. But it's quite impressive how much that just pulls the whole side of the car together. Okay, so now on to the scary part. I have been dreading this section of the car the entire time, but we're gonna go ahead and try and tackle the quarter panel and this pillar all the way up to the front. So first I gotta take out the tail light, take the bumper off, and get everything out of the way. Again, I'm leaving this on here because I'll just be able to tuck underneath this. But we will see how it goes. Time lapse.
The silence fades into the night. Coyotes sing at the moonlight. These open highways are calling our name, and now it's time for us to escape. Feel the wind touch our face. Let's take a spin to a foreign place. These open highways are calling our name, and now it's time for us to escape. Escape to a world we don't know. Escape into the great unknown. Escape to a world we don't know. Escape into the great unknown. Escape, let's escape. Let's escape. Let's escape.
So here's an update. That sucked. That was the absolute hardest part so far, and I knew it was going to be, but wow. It came out okay. I'm very disappointed in myself. It is pretty cold out here. We're in Kansas, and it's like probably 40 degrees here in the garage, and well, I'll show you, but everything else came out okay, except for one spot. So coming around, all the corners came out good. I was able to stretch into everything. I'm slowly getting better at cutting the edges of the vinyl. I am still very concerned with the wheel well. I don't know if I said it in any of the other clips, but there's not a whole lot of material or metal on the car itself for the vinyl to stick to under here. So I'm afraid that after driving in the snow and everything, this might end up getting messed up. So everything else though, camera's about to die. I got all the seams cut, everything's good. I used the knifeless tape across the top, got a really good line down this, but the biggest mess up was right here. So I was trying to stretch the vinyl back, it was stuck against the door. It was stuck over here. I was lifting it on this side and all of a sudden it jumped and it tore the vinyl. It split it and you can kind of see right here, it tore it all the way back into this piece. And I don't know if I have enough material to redo this whole section, but we're gonna try and hope that that just holds up. But that was a huge, huge downer in my mood when that happened. But it's gonna happen. I mean, I'm not a professional. I'm doing this in probably not the best conditions. And then see, I put this little piece here to try and prevent it from stretching. But that will eventually stretch, and I think it's gonna show the paint through it even more. You can barely see it for the time being, but I'm going to time-lapse everything else, except for the back. I may talk a little bit more about that. I still have to do the bumper, but the other side is just gonna be redoing the same thing I did on this side.
Close through the night, I won't let go until the sunrise. These open highways are calling our name, and now it's time for us to escape. Wave goodbye to your city life, and say hello to the desert sky. These open highways are calling our name, and now it's time for us to escape. Escape to a world we don't know. Escape into the great unknown. Escape to a world we don't know. Escape into the great unknown. Escape, let's escape. Let's escape.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us. I've been stuck on your memory, but it's not like I need it. And we may have some history, but we don't have to repeat it. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I'm gonna
the car done, I do want to go ahead and give another shout out to VViViD Vinyls for sponsoring this video and sending me all the product that I need to do this wrap. I was very edgy about trying to do this myself because it just looked a little bit too difficult. It looked like you needed to have many years of experience and really know what you were doing. I definitely didn't have a clue what I was doing going into this. I did watch other YouTubers such as CK Raps to get a better understanding of what it would take to do this, but thankfully, this came out fantastic. I'm super happy with it. VViViD Vinyls, again, thank you so much for sponsoring this video, and they have many different colors. This is one of their more expensive vinyls, I believe, but they have so many options: matte finishes, chrome finishes, even glow in the dark. If you're trying to figure out if you can do something like this, you may want a cheaper vinyl to start with, and VViViD even has their overstock colors available on their website, as low as around $200 for enough vinyl to maybe wrap your car. So if you want to wrap your car, there's really no excuse anymore, and you can try it for a relatively reasonable price. VViViD is a fantastic product here, and it's a lot easier than I thought. So we'll go ahead and show you some really close-up shots to show this color very well. I'm blown away. Again, thank you, VViViD. I absolutely love it. See you guys next time.
I just need